All right, everyone, here we're looking at the results for the Pantheoner tournament. We are going to look at the different games that one of the finalists, EmileCheskey, played. But first, we're going to look at the different results of this tournament based on my old predictions. So I predicted that I would make it to the end of my trees in match 3, but that I would be defeated. I was. All right, and then I predicted that, let's see here. I predicted that I didn't really have very many predictions for this side of the tree. I predicted that Roman Vashagan would make it all the way here. I don't remember what my prediction was for 2-gamer 2, but maybe I thought Roman Vashagan would win, and they ended up winning there. Nikki, I predicted that she would make it all the way to the end of her, at least those first 3 matches. 3 matches I predicted for the Joker. I predicted the Joker would make it to the end. Super Remule, I predicted Super Remule would make it to the end, but they didn't. They actually lost against V Nemesis Hun, so something to look at there. I predicted that Plopseed would make it to the end of their 3. I think I actually predicted that Plopseedo and Super Remule would fight each other. That prediction never came to pass. Ray Xiao, I predicted Ray Xiao would make it to the end of theirs, and that they would. I think I predicted that they would face Clit Westwood, and then EmileCheskey. I predicted EmileCheskey would make it to the end, but I did predict UV Jelly would win their match against Opil if they didn't. But EmileCheskey still makes it to the end. I predicted that Gaia would do well, but Clowno ends up beating Gaia. Guy's a good player, so they did some cool moves in games I've played with them. So all right, but looking at this, we're going to now follow the path that EmileCheskey went through. So these are spoiler; these are all games that Emile won, and we're going to dive into game number 1 here, looking at the point of view of EmileCheskey in all of these games. So let's dive into this first one. All right, it's loading. Hi, everybody. All right, 7 Wonders Dual Replays view. So Emile facing a 100 level player, they're probably going to take Divine Theater in the beginning. No, they actually take Hanging Gardens, and then their opponent probably going to take Divine Theater. No, they take Great Library, and then finally a Divine Theater, leaving Mausoleum to EmileCheskey. I feel like Mausoleum would have been a better move to keep and give Emile the Great Library. Didn't matter, though. Last Wonder, always going to be Pyramids, it seems. First move of the game, EmileCheskey taking the Wood Reserve, followed by Bobsy, their opponent, taking the Stone Reserve. Then a gray card taken, Glass, by EmileCheskey. Then a brown card, Stone, taken by Bobsy. Bobsy choosing a Greek divinity, the first divinity to be placed, and they place it kind of close to them, just 1 away, not in the 3 coin spot, but the 4 coin spot close to them. Bobsy then taking a blue card. EmileCheskey took a brown stone and a science, so both players having stone. Bobsy didn't need their stone that they took, but a flip was revealed. EmileCheskey placed out a Mesopotamian god closer to Bobsy, but Bobsy ends up getting the tavern from the flip. And then EmileCheskey placing a Roman god very, very close to Bobsy. And you see that a lot. They want the Roman gods and the Greek gods to be close to their opponents. And EmileCheskey has chosen 2 of those. For some reason, Bobsy chose the Greek god to be close to themselves. But looking at the science game, Bobsy at 1 of 6 science symbols, 1 of them linking. EmileCheskey, 2 of 6 science symbols, and 1 of them linking. Bobsy continuing to take blue cards. You see that at the 100 level plays of this game. Blue cards and red cards generally in Age 1 should be avoided at just the Pantheon expansion. So a discard of the Clay Reserve for 3 coins. Everybody wanting to discard. The coins ending this age at 9 versus 4 now. But EmileCheskey, with the last 2 cards, using that first player trick, and grabbing the last 2 cards, now at 9 coins because they got the Hanging Gardens, giving them a boost of 6 coins there. Now they're going to start Age 2. EmileCheskey probably going to take Raw, I would imagine. No, they don't. They take... Okay, interesting. They take Theology, making all of their wonders being extra turns. They didn't want their opponent to nab that. Their opponent doesn't even care about raw, and they just grab the customs house for some reason. They think gray resources are just absolutely can't do without, and are fine giving up a card to EmileCheskey. I wonder, in fact, giving up Sphinx instead of Divine Theater. I wonder why EmileCheskey chose to not take the Divine Theater. Probably chose that because Emile was thinking, all right, maybe I need to make sure this opponent has no extra turns. All right, so Bobsy discarding for 6 coins. They have just a ton of yellow cards. Emile at 2 of 6 science symbols. Bobsy discarding a science. Nisaba's still there for either player to copy, but neither one is taking Nisaba. Finally, we see Bobsy actually take Nisaba. So now being at 2 of 6 science symbols, they copied the feather. Face up now in age 2 is the feather, the bowl, and that little triangle. But the discarded card is the wheel. And thankfully, one player has Mausoleum, EmileCheskey, with an extra turn coming with that, it being Theology. So we're going to probably see them construct Mausoleum there. All right. Emile going to construct the temple. So maybe they're thinking, oh, it might come down to points. I need to make sure that I'm ready for that if that's the case. Emile does not need the triangle. They need one of the other two that are underneath the triangle. They need the feather. Well, they already have the feather. The only one they need is the bowl. Bobsy being careful not to let EmileCheskey just take what they want. Finally, Emile needing to use an extra turn to grab that science they need. They grab, of course, the discarded wheel, and then they grab the science that they really were looking for, that bowl that Bobsy got in age 1. Now EmileCheskey has the age 2 one, having 5 of 6 science symbols going into age 3. Emile having 2 extra turns, and these are actual extra turns, Alpian Way and Sphinx. Not being able to be getting a bonus extra turn from Theology. Emile grabbing a 3 military. They were losing in military, and now they're slightly winning in military. Bobsy going to take yet another blue card. So you see this at the 100 levels. If they, they know they're beaten, and so they, and if they don't know it, they'll find out because the science cards are all face up. 3 of 4 science cards are face up, and Emile just needs 1 of them. So we're looking at just nearing the end of the game at this point. There's no extra turns from Bobsy, so nothing that they can do to control it. No chance of taking Theology with their 15 cost coin. Yeah, 15. Oh my gosh. Great library. But it wouldn't have mattered because Emile has Theology. Game over very quickly, and we see that Emile wins in science there. Now, going into the next game, we can look at the different wonders here, and I'm thinking Divine Theater gets taken first, and this is Emile is going to start this game. So let's take a look and dive right in. This is against Opilf, the player who beat UV Jelly, a prior finalist for this Pantheoner tournament. All right, Emile going to take Divine Theater at the beginning and is left with the Great Lighthouse as the Great Library, and Colossus are taken by their opponent Opilf. Then Emile getting Sphinx and Sanctuary, but Temple of Artemis and Pyramids going to Opilf. A common thing is Temple of Artemis and Pyramids go hand in hand. They just, you get the best and you get the worst. Well, one of the best. All right, so the meta currently thinks that of the lower level players is that Temple of Artemis is the best, but we all know Divine Theater is the best. All right, so EmileCheskey going to take a... all right. Emile going to take the Wood Reserve, and then somehow the Tavern gets revealed for Opilf, and Opilf takes that, snatches that up. Now... Emile going to choose an Egyptian divinity, and they place it close to their opponent. That lets me know they're probably putting Isis close to their opponent instead of the too powerful Anubis and Ra. Emile not going to suffer in stone. They grab a stone, so Opilf and Emile at stone. Just in case it comes down to points, stone will be very necessary. All right, so then we look into... Opilf going to construct a lumberyard for free, so 2 wood from Opilf and EmileCheskey with the wood reserve. Emile also has a clay, Opilf following it up with a clay grab. So neither player is really lacking in brown resources, and gray resources don't matter as much. EmileCheskey going to take a stone reserve. Okay. Opilf going to take a blue card instead of discarding for the 3 coins that could have been more useful. And then Opilf going to then take the pharmacist, that bowl symbol, EmileCheskey with the wheel, and we do not have the feather in play. So the feather was one of the cards removed in Age 1. Emile going to construct the Sanctuary, and a very cool one to start Age 2 with is the Sanctuary, because it makes all the God cards cost 2 less. But I'd say if you do that, you want to make sure you have 6 coins. Emile's only at 4, and so they can't afford the cards closest to Opilf, but that doesn't matter because now Emile started the game, and there's no Raw out there, so the next best choice was Tanit. Emile taking Tanit for 12 coins, and it cost them 2 less with that Sanctuary discount. Let's see how many gods they get, because it looks like every single god is going to give them a discount of 2 coins. That's really maximizing the benefit of that Sanctuary card. Emile going to build the Divine Theater early as well. And from there, they take an Egyptian mythology. I would imagine they take Ra, and they steal the only extra turn of Opilf, and then we can end this game right now. I think it's very apparent to everybody that with 2 extra turns versus no extra turns, Emile has got the game in the bag. There's no plots or conspiracies in this expansion. Emile can try to grab the gate to stop theology from being taken from Opilf. Opilf already built Great Library, and that only produced the economy. Emile looking through, and oh my goodness, they use Anubis to rebuild the Divine Theater. So now they can start using Divine Theater for what it's best for, which is that science. Although they're pretty low on coins, Emile only at 3 coins, Opilf at 14 coins, but it is not looking good from a science perspective. When your opponent has 2 extra turns, they basically have 2 extra science cards. And EmileCheskey has 2 of 6 symbols. Law is out there, so that's very, very possible that Emile just ends up taking Law. They are leaving the wheel because they want to take the card that's under the wheel, the bowl. And with no extra turns from Opilf, that is looking like it's going to be the case, that Emile is going to be able to get the bowl. Emile ends up using Temple of Artemis as an extra turn to be able to take the triangle so that they can grab Law. So they're sitting with a triangle, Law, and the wheel. Opilf grabbing Astarte to offset the turns. They don't want to reveal that dispensary. And but the dispensary ends up getting taken for free by EmileCheskey, not based on a linking symbol, but just based on they have the clay for that. It's the only science that costs 2 clay. All right. Then next up, Emile going to construct the archery range and pushing in military. So that's an interesting thing I see from Emile is they don't care about winning in military or having a military advantage going into Age 3. I would prefer having a military slight disadvantage, so I guarantee that I start first. But having it even is also a good point if you can start, get to choose who starts and take the last card of Age 2. Opilf does take the last card of Age 2, but so they would have started anyways, I guess. But Emile going into this one, they somehow managed to get the feather, and now they're sitting at 5 of 6 science symbols. They're sitting really pretty. They end up getting 9 whole coins from a cool, what's that card? The Chamber of Commerce. But that's not really going to matter so much. EmileCheskey has plenty of coins, 22 coins. Their opponent has no extra turns, and Emile only needing 1 science symbol and 3 of them being revealed. This is a game in the bag. The only time when it's wary is when there are no science symbols revealed at the start of Age 3, and you worry that some of them were discarded in the beginning. But no, you had another science win from EmileCheskey, and then we go on to the next game. Game number 3 versus Clowno. All right, so Emile going to face off against Clowno. Clowno, though, so we went from a 100 elo player to a 200 elo player. Now we're looking at a 300, nearing 400 elo player. At this point, Emile had about the same. Both of them had 394 for Emile and 383 for Clowno at the time. So I know Emile has gone up above 400 since then. All right, so we're looking at the wonders that are chosen. Clown is going to start this one taking the Hanging Gardens instead of Piraeus. A good move. Some players might have taken Piraeus, but it makes sense that Emile's going to go after the Appian Way, Piraeus first, when Hanging Gardens is not there. They may have rather had Hanging Gardens, but I want to point out Clowno took for their first turn the Tavern, a very good move. EmileCheskey taking a Science, and a Clay. But I wanted to point out Clowno's wonders. Clowno has above me, you can see 4 shields in all their wonders. So they have almost all the military wonders, missing Mausoleum, but this looking like a very powerful military play from Clowno. And they're lacking in extra turns. They have 1 extra turn, so it'll be tough to make that work. But if they can get a couple strong military moves, they could win this. Now, Clowno going to take 2 yellow cards. EmileCheskey having none. EmileCheskey really just focusing on science, and what that does for you if you give up yellow cards and go for science, you end up with a low coin amount. Thankfully, Emile has 7 coins, but at what cost? In the future, they're probably going to really be suffering for coins. Clowno gets Clay Reserve revealed. They didn't have Clay access. Now they have Clay access, and now they're at 8 coins. Emile going to... Okay, Clowno discarding the Pharmacist, and no Mausoleum in sight, so perhaps Hades would be a good move for Emile in the future to take that Science. Finally, Emile gets a yellow card that they needed. They already had wood, but it makes sense. If you don't have a yellow card, you still need to take that wood reserve for the yellow abilities. Now, Clowno, knowing that they won't start the next stage unless they build the 9-coin Hanging Gardens, decides to just push a little bit in military and accept that they're not going to start in the next stage. They constructed the military card for free, but yeah, they're definitely not starting then. EmileCheskey going to take Tanit. The God Shootout. These higher level players know the very first turns are about taking gods, unless those first 2 cards are either Brewery or something else good. Clowno going to take Neptune. And now the focus on gods is a little bit less now. A 2-shielder taken from by Clowno, pushing really far in military. EmileCheskey also taking a 2-shielder. And now the first wonder is built. Clowno building the Circus Maximus and crushing a glass from EmileCheskey. Hades was out there, and Emile probably going to build that science card, the dispensary that was, or the pharmacist that was discarded prior. Now, Emile going to just start discarding a bunch of cards. Clowno discarding as well. They're thinking they don't need Sawmill. They don't need blue cards. They're needing to save up in coins. How are we doing on coins? Clowno's got 9 coins, and then EmileCheskey at 6 coins. So, now Clowno at 14 coins. EmileCheskey at 6. Okay, now 2 when they build Piraeus. A wonder gets built, and so that EmileCheskey is able to take a same symbol so that they can, instead of taking theology, they take law. And it makes sense they didn't take theology because, I mean, look down there at their wonders. Pyramids is just not... it doesn't make sense for them to take theology because they may never end up building pyramids. They're not looking for a points win. Emile is once again sitting at 5 of 6 science symbols going into the next stage. Just incredible science control. Clowno took Ishtar from them, but not able to take Law, the Law Progress token from them. Clowno at 1 extra turn, so that's smart. Clowno realizing that they need to be careful, and they need to push in military, because military is the way that they can defeat a science win. It's inevitable. There are 2 science... Oh, now. 3. No, now 2. Revealed. Clowno being smart and covering up Colossus, or using Colossus to cover up that 1 science symbol that just got revealed. The gate is grabbed by Clowno. What is Clowno going to take? They still have Hanging Gardens to control the structure somewhat, but Emile really only needs 1 science symbol. Alright, it's looking like Emile going to use both of their extra turns now that they see that Clowno has no money to build the Hanging Gardens, using both of their extra turns to force... Oh, wow. Taking advantage of the opponent not having any coins, Clowno only having 0 coins, not able to do anything to stop Emile from building this science card. Wow, that was a cool, quick jolt to the end. Rather than playing the pyramid out, they just said, "All right, I'm going to use all my extra turns now that you have no money left over after that gate spend." So that spend of the gate really made Clowno die a little earlier. But I feel like Emile would have won that anyways. You can't really play very well against 5 of 6 science symbols. It's possible, and going a military strategy was important for Clowno, but it's just very, very difficult. So from there, we're going to move on to EmileCheskey versus Ray Xiao. And this one, very cool. Both players, I think, at this point, 400 ELO. And we're going to look at that right now. We're going to see where they are at. Ray Xiao was a 500 level player. Okay, so we're going to see some really good plays from both of them, I imagine. Starting is EmileCheskey. Emile going to take Temple of Artemis and probably be left with the Great Lighthouse as these good... No! Ray Xiao made the fortunate move of grabbing the Great Lighthouse. Let's see how that plays out for them. Alright, so that could be the thing that's keeping Ray Xiao from beating EmileCheskey in the end of this one. But yeah, Great Lighthouse, probably not the right move there. Ray Xiao going to take the Wood Reserve and going to choose the Roman Divinity, placing it kind of just in the middle. EmileCheskey taking the Stone Reserve and Ray Xiao following it up with a press grab, so they have Papyrus. Emile saying, I want a little bit of that gray magic. I'm going to take the glass. Ray Xiao with 1 science, the feather, and EmileCheskey with the triangle. I guess we'll call it the triangle. Emile going to put a Mesopotamian divinity also in the middle. So I don't know what it is with these higher level players putting the gods in the middle. I think each of them is wanting a chance to put that raw god. There is one Egyptian god token out there, and maybe they want to place it close to themselves. Anyways, as far as the economies go, Ray Xiao is sitting at 1 clay, 1 papyrus, and then the wood reserve. EmileCheskey going to be the one to reveal that god token. They engineered it so. And EmileCheskey going to take place the Egyptian god token close to themselves. Now, they have first player advantage. They started this, and so they're going to be able to take that first card no matter what. There's nothing Ray Xiao can do. And so Ray Xiao, with that, is going to lose Piraeus. But Ray Xiao is going to place a Mesopotamian god close to themselves. I wonder if the move right there... Oh, that's a ton of coins. 12 coins from Temple of Artemis. And then again, another discard of 4 more coins. They're at 21 coins going into the next stage. Ray Xiao has 14, so they're going to get the second best decision. EmileCheskey taking Raw and stealing Piraeus. Makes sense. And maybe Ray Xiao was hoping that they could use Nisaba to really eke out a science win. But I thought it was just going to be Anki with a theology gamble, but no. They're just hoping to copy all the science symbols of Emile, and maybe Emile just doesn't go science this game. Maybe they think, okay, I'm gonna go military if you try to go science. I have Colossus. You chose to give me Colossus. Ray Xiao going to take that 6 coin tavern, and so that's exciting. Why didn't Emile take that? Why did they take Caravanserai for what it looks like it cost them 4 coins for that Caravanserai? Ray Xiao going to activate Zeus. Interesting. Okay, and they chose to discard the laboratory. Maybe they're hoping to get Hades and snatch that up themselves with the gate. I mean, you don't have very many options in this, but they do have the gate close to them at only 8 coins. So maybe that is the hope and dream, to be able to take without any extra turns. You start needing to be creative and using Zeus to discard something so they can grab Hades from the gate. Oh, what am I talking Hades from the gate? They have Mausoleum. So they pretty much engineered that perfectly so that they're going to get that science symbol, and they're going to start the next stage with 4 science symbols potentially when they take Law as the progress token. Now, EmileCheskey spending almost all their money to buy the gate from Ray Xiao's side. What do they choose? Are they going to choose an Ishtar? Are they going to... Yes, they're going to take Ishtar, I figured. And they're going to... I mean, Ra's already gone, so it makes sense to take Ishtar next. And Emile is at 4 science symbols. Ray Xiao probably going to want to use Mausoleum to try to get an edge in science and take Law from Emile. But we're going to see how this ends up playing out. So Emile has 2 extra turns. They now have 5 of 6 science symbols. Nothing that Rei Xiao can do, and Emile is winning in military though. So Rei Xiao has to stop a military advance, unfortunately costing them 6 coins to do so. And Emile going to use Piraeus to get the final science symbol they needed. So it looks like they were losing in science and maybe they'd push for military. But yeah, once again, Emile playing this, grabbing a lot of military cards, being okay winning in military, but also having 5 of 6 science symbols once again going into the next age. There needs to be a meme of Emile just having 5 of 6 science symbols going into the next age. It's just hilarious how frequent this seems to be occurring. All right, so finally the game with EmileCheskey versus V Nemesis Hun. Now this game, we got V Nemesis Hun, a 300 level player, so a little bit less than Rei Xiao, but they made it up to the pyramid in their own right. But Emile also starting this one, so they've started a lot of the games. They've gotten lucky. Wow, V Nemesis Hun choosing pyramids must have been a misclick instead of the Great Library. Pyramids and Colossus. Okay, and then now EmileCheskey going to allow their opponent to take Mausoleum because they wanted the Great Lighthouse. Very weird plays from both players. Okay, so yeah, neither player was informed prior to this game that the Great Lighthouse and the pyramids were the worst 2 wonders in the world. All right, so across all expansions. All right, so V Nemesis Hun going to discard Palisade for 2 coins. V Nemesis Hun choosing the Phoenician god to be placed very close to themselves, even with 2 gods out there. So some moves, I guess they wanted to make sure that they got something good, but yeah, why not try to engineer Ra getting close to yourself? Maybe they could see that that wasn't going to happen for them, because EmileCheskey at this point is going to choose where the god cards go. The Egyptian god cards. They're going to place 1 close to V Nemesis Hun, so I imagine that's probably going to be Isis. Potentially it could be... No, I think it's going to be Isis. Alright, so V Nemesis Hun going to construct Colossus very early. Why are they doing this? Okay, and then EmileCheskey, very early game, taking blue cards. I think that's just way too early. So this is the only game EmileCheskey has really grabbed a bunch of blue cards, but maybe it's because they don't see a lot of science out there, and so they inherently change their playstyle based upon what is going on. V Nemesis Hun going to place... they've placed 4 of the 5 gods. They place... I wonder if they placed Ra out, or if Gate's going to end up being on EmileCheskey's side. But V Nemesis Hun allowing the Gate to be on EmileCheskey's side. They had almost total control on where everything was placed, but instead they placed Ra in the middle and allowing EmileCheskey to snatch up one of their wonders. Why not place, if you know that's going to happen, placing yeah, something else. But yeah, that just confuses me why they would do that. But all right, so V Nemesis going to continue on building military. Maybe that's the just thought, is they will distract their opponent. V Nemesis Hun going to distract them and take a bunch of military while the opponent thinks they can just steal all their wonders. I mean, there's a huge benefit of having Mausoleum. You can really get a huge military push there. But instead of grabbing the 3-coin military, they grab Enki and choose to grab points. So they're already at a coin disadvantage. Sitting at less than 8 coins is always a scary situation. V Nemesis Hun at 5 coins. Emile at 0. So we're looking at 0 coin situations here. A lot of cool things open up when your opponent has 0 coins. V Nemesis going to discard a card. EmileCheskey not going to discard, choosing to build the archery range to protect themselves, and they built it for free. They just had everything they needed. And Emile finally taking their first yellow card. V Nemesis Hun had the yellow card advantage for a while. Still does, and now with a 4th yellow card being taken, V Nemesis Hun's discard rate of coins is unstoppable. EmileCheskey going to score some points now. EmileCheskey really just grabbing a ton of point cards, but V Nemesis Hun grabbing the pyramids. I wonder if these players talked beforehand and said, let's not do science, let's try to make it a points game. And Emile just racking up the points, just tons and tons of points. And although they do have 3 of 6 science symbols, V Nemesis Hun has none, allowing EmileCheskey to take a 4th science symbol again. Now, is Emile going to end up with... oh, no. No, they're not going to end up with 5 symbols before the end of age 5 or age 3. So 5 of 6 science symbols before the end of age 2. That seems to be the common trend, but this time we're looking at only 4. But it honestly won't matter because Emile's going to be able to grab enough coins from Hanging Gardens to take a card from the discard pile, which is a 5th science symbol that they need because they already had Ishtar. Oh no, actually it wasn't a 5th science symbol they need. For some reason they grabbed engineering, so that will be interesting to figure out why they grabbed engineering. I don't know exactly the reasoning for that, but EmileCheskey going to push in military. Potentially they just wanted to stop their opponent from using Mausoleum to grab a military card. Well, EmileCheskey has what they need to get all of the science symbols, and maybe using that extra turn prompted them to be able to maneuver the structure in a way that they were able to grab that 5th science symbol. And now they have an extra turn, and they can afford the last science symbol they need when it is flipped, or when it is revealed or able to be taken. It's already flipped face up. It's standing there waiting for Emile to take it. Emile takes it once again. A science win from Emile, and that's just incredible. So all of the games won boom after boom after boom where science wins, and now we go to the final match of Roman and Emile. But I have to stop right now because now we're going to go into the next video. So stay tuned and click the link for the next one. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.